Kenya has produced many rugby stars, but none of them has come close to matching Andrew Noel Amonde's achievements, both at club and national team levels.
I'm known as Andrew Amonde, formerly of Kenya Sevens captain, former of Kisumu FC, still playing for KCB Rugby, but retired actively with the national teams.
In 2022, he drew both ends of the rugby pitch curtain.
For me, it's done. My years, I think, has catch up with me, and I've done my service to the country. It's just good enough to see others coming in, because we have mentored young guys who are really younger to come in. Me being here is just a hinder to them for their success and for the success of the team.
Dimmed the floodlights and walked away from something he has done for over 15 years. This is the story of Andrew Amonde. He was born and raised in Kisumu.
I was born in 1983 in Kisumu. I was born in Kondele, in a place known as Galagala.
He's the second born in a humble family of 8. He has been an introvert since childhood.
I'm blessed enough to have a wife, 2 kids, a boy and a girl, who are growing through the line of sports. My prayer is that we'll be able to encourage them to be good sportsmen and sportswomen. Still hoping to get more kids in the marriage. I've said I was lucky enough to have a good and a very understanding wife who was able to encourage me and give me some humble times to be able to pursue my career as a sportsman.
For him to have risen to the world stage and played alongside world greats of our generation, such as New Zealand's Beauden Barrett,
get away, here is Barrett on the run,
is a tribute to Kenyan rugby and is something I indeed feel compelled to note in this episode of Sports Legends. He started his primary school and later transferred to Highway Primary School.
I got myself to be a good player in football, so it was not good enough for me to carry on at a later stage, but my early stage at high school, I played some little football.
He proceeded to Lions High School for his Form 1 education, but would be later poached by Mark Obonyo of Kisumu Boys because of his handball prowess.
My career as a sportsman mostly was more built in Kisumu Boys, because that's where I got the encouragement from, because they were very good players. I think I matured as a sportsman, and I would say my character in sport was more built into handball, because handball taught me a lot, taught me about teamwork, taught me the hard work, and the encouragement that we got from the teachers and the school and the other players that we were able to play along. So built the character that everybody knows about me in rugby. So that's where I built myself, educated myself, did my high school, finished the high school, and then joined Kisumu FC.
The talented flanker never played rugby in his early stages. He had a burning passion for football, which he joined with other estate friends to play soccer. Here he chased the plastic bag ball alongside Gilbert Kaisha, Miheso, Abdallah Dadi, and other influential people.
Ronnie played a very big role into mentoring us into sport. So we were very disciplined in playing football, and it made us choose sports to be the number one thing, to be able to block us in so many vices that the young people involved in.
Rono, whom he remembers, used to play for Kisumu Hot Stars.
Rono was there to support us because he used to play football. He could get us football fitness, football kits, the main balls.
This is the man who brought those balls and encouraged them to play. Unlike many parents, Amonde received massive support from his family from an early age.
The role that my parents played was a big one, because they allowed us to be involved in sport, but there was that limitation that they had, that education had to come first. So there was that follow-up. They always made sure that we focused mostly on our education and also balanced with the sport. So I got a chance to have good parents who supported me into this, because most of my uncles played football. His
uncle, the late Omondi Jobita, and his cousin, Laban Jobita, both played for Harambee Stars. After he graduated from high school in 2004, the late Andrew Okwaro, formerly of Kisumu Rugby Football Club, who was then his neighbor, convinced him to try out rugby.
Some of my playmates, or schoolmates that we used to be in school with, Don Okoth, Metro, some of the people we used to live in the same hood. So they picked me one day because they used to play rugby in high school. And I would say they also encouraged me that because I looked more physical and my body could support to play rugby. So they introduced me to rugby in Polytechnic in 2004.
Okwaro also played rugby in his youth, so he taught Amonde the basics and even bought him his first pair of boots.
My first tournament was when we were taken for Moost Sevens. We got to Kakamega, and that was my first experience as a rugby player because I had not played anywhere. I was still learning the rules, so through that tournament, I was able to pick a lot. I was able to play, I was able to walk into the field, to have a little understanding of the sport. And my love for it kept on growing, and that's how I got myself. I said, this is a sport that is very encouraging. I've been encouraged to play it, and it seems I was falling in love with it, so I kept on pushing myself.
He played for Kisumu RFC from 2004 to 2005, before he moved to Nairobi to further his studies.
I was very encouraged when I got to Polytechnic because I met the likes of Polo Kongo, Felix Uching, the late Andrew Okwaro, very good players who had played to Kenya at a very high level in rugby. So when they first saw me and they came to understand that I had not played any rugby and I was very interested in sport, and the way they looked at my physique, and they were very encouraged, and they kept on motivating me if I would love to change sport and try out rugby. So immediately I started trying out rugby. I fell in love with the sport, so I kept on coming, kept on learning, and I built myself in Kisumu. I only played for Kisumu in 2004 until 2005, and then I was picked to come play for KCB.
While studying television production at East Africa Media School, he joined Kenya Commercial Bank's rugby team, where he is to date.
So when they encouraged me and they saw I had potential to play, they gave me a chance to come here, and Ogot played a very major role because I remember one day Ogot met me in town. I was already going to meet somebody else at another club to see if I could join the other club. So he just got me from town and told me where KCB was because I used to live down here in Thika Road. So it was easy for me to even come to KCB than going to other clubs. So when I came here, studied my rugby, it was a tough journey because I came at an elite club.
The team had very good players, but he says that he was lucky because it happened that some players were called up to the national team, and KCB had already registered for Floodlights, and they had to make a team to go and play.
I came to an elite squad. There were several good players who are here, who are playing at the international level. So it was a tough journey for me also again, trying to adapt, trying to get a position to play in, and try to fit into a new program. So it was challenging. The good thing, these players understand where you come from. So the encouragement was there, the learning was there, the motivation was there, and I got good mentorship from very good players. I was able to play with among the best at that time who were playing for Kenya, and the motivation and the skill that I was able to pick from them also helped me through my journey.
This is where he got a breakthrough.
Given that chance to play, I didn't make a very big difference, but I was able to show my mark that I was able to play. So from there, I was given guidance, I was helped along the way, because I remember I played with Howard. Howard Okwemba was the center that used to be here. He was a top player at that level.
He remembers his first games and attests that he never made any major difference.
So I kept on working very hard with myself, kept on learning because, it was a short time for me, a short period for me to be able to learn the skills that is needed, the basic skills that is needed to play rugby when I started playing, because it was 2 years when I started playing that I ended up being in a top elite club. And in 2006, I ended up being called up for the 15th side, and then I was called up for the Kenya 7th side. So it was a very short period, and I was not very good with my starter things that I needed to do to be able to be in the same level like people who studied rugby in high school. So for me, it was a build-up for me. So I took it as a learning process. I knew I was not going to be my best at the beginning, but the heart that I had was very big than most of the things, and that is the thing that carried me most of the time. So
he was proud that he was able to leave an indelible mark on the pitch.
I worked on myself. I worked very hard on my skills and on my shortcomings as a player, and I kept on improving. So every time I improved, I got a call up to play for the national team, Kenya 15s. That was my first tour in Uganda in 2006. It was difficult. But lucky enough, the same year, he also got called up for the Kenya Sevens. So I started training with the Kenya Sevens.
Shining Swans.
2005-2006 season, floodlights. So that is the season that everybody saw a very different part of me because I'd had a chance to be in KCB, train with them so much, learn a lot from them. So I was already peaking. I think my graph was already just rising. And from what an individual I was with the hard work and the extra work that I could do, it was easy for me to fit in anywhere. So I got my position at KCB. So I kept on playing wing, center, could be playing first half, second half. So at KCB, when I became the master who kept on playing, so it was easy for me to get the call up at the national team at the 15th level.
Amonde has attained almost everything there is to be achieved in rugby sevens. The exciting flanker who made his debut at the 2006 South Africa Sevens has won numerous titles in the Kenya national sevens team, Shujaa, and KCB Lions Rugby Club.
2006, I was lucky enough to be called up by the late Benjamin Naimba when they took up the national team duties as the coaches. So I got a call up with Benja. I remember Judy giving me a call. I was here for training, that I was picked up for the national team, set up for the sevens. Wow, I was very excited. I remember calling my dad, telling him that I've been picked in the national team to go and represent the country, and we were preparing for the Dubai South Africa leg, the RB leg. As much it was exciting, when I got there, I realized there was a lot of work that I needed to do on myself.
For a man who was just 2 years into the game, this was such an achievement. He took this as a learning curve because he knew that he was not going to be at his best within the next few years.
The coach, the head coach who was here, kept on saying I was not very good at my skills. So positions like centers are people who are very skilled with their hands, and that is something that I was lacking because I didn't play rugby for a very long time. So he kept on encouraging me, you are a strong guy, you can fit anywhere in rugby, so you can fit in very well at back row. If you just choose to play back row position in rugby, you'd go far with that position. So I kept on questioning myself, why would I move to a position where people are big, because I was not fitting, I was not that big when I started rugby. So people are very big, people are very aggressive at that position. The good thing, I took his advice and I tried out the back row. So it was a good fit for me because I got people who encouraged me. I played with the legs of Kinogot, Arnold Odera, the late Junior, Ochino. So they played a very big role because they showed me the way on what to do, what you need to do as a back row, and the hard work that I put in as a player.
Within the few years he had been in the sport, Amonde was appointed Kenya Sevens skipper in 2012, a position he held for over 8 years, making him the longest-serving Shujaa captain.
I played Kenya Sevens for 15 years, from when they picked me for Kenya Sevens. Throughout that time, it was learning process after learning process. I think my breakthrough came in 2013, when my Friday came in and made me the Kenya Sevens captain.
We're going to hit back down the short side, we've got to drag him across.
That is the first time, I would say, we trained as a professional side, and there was a little bit an environmental change in the way we did things. We had good sponsors. The Kenya Airways was doing a good job with Kenya Sevens. The Kenya Rugby Union with Mwangi, they were attracting a lot of sponsors. We had people like Coke, Tusker. We had so many sponsors at that time, and it reflected back to the team.
He helped Shujaa qualify for the 2013 Rugby Sevens World Cup, leading the team to a 4th place finish.
Our first game was against Namibia. So we had Namibia, Zimbabwe, and the Madagascar who were hosting. So we were lucky enough, our first game was against Namibia. So we were able to walk in, beat Namibia, and then we beat Madagascar. And then we were very sure of going to the national team because we had already beaten Namibia, we had already beaten. So we were playing Zimbabwe at the finals. Unfortunately, we just needed 1 point to go through to the next level. We were not able to get 1 point.
Amonde was also part of the Kenya 7 squad that took part in the 2018 Commonwealth Games. At the club level, Amonde was brilliant at winning titles with KCB Lions.
Impala was a very good side when I started playing. They were a big havoc to play with. So because they kept on challenging, Queens were equally a very good side. Nondis were a very good side because they had very good players at that time. Nakuru had the best players at that time because playing Nakuru was something else. So it was difficult when I started playing because there were very good players playing for different clubs, and KCB also had very good players, and the competition was very high.
He helped the Bankers finish second in the National 7 circuit.
The team was playing very well. This team has played all the way from the pool stages to the finals. It's just a little thing that we needed to do, and we got it right at the end of the day.
Amonde played an instrumental role in Kenya's historic 2016 HSBC World 7 Series triumph in Singapore.
So my biggest achievement with K7s, I would say winning Singapore. That came after being with Mike Friday, being with Paul True, some of the best coaches in the world with the Sevens game. They were able to change our mindset of how we saw the sports and the way they made us work. So built us to be different players. I think the players who went through that unit are very different players as individuals at the moment. They will be able to take rugby to a different level if they're given a chance to be able to practice some of the things they do as rugby players.
We're burning too many people at breakdowns because you're not talking and you're not communicating.
So we learned a lot from Mike Friday and Paul True. They changed the environment, and then we had Benja coming in back, and we were able to go through and win Singapore.
He helped Kenya defeat Fiji 30-7 to bag their maiden title.
Something that came as a dream. We never expected it to happen.
We're going to get another one for Kenya. It has taken them 114 tournaments to enjoy this moment. Kenya, congratulations. That was just awesome.
It has taken generations from my country to be able to get the first trophy. It's a feeling we had never had as a team. It's something we have always dreamed of. We danced all night, we danced from the ground just to celebrate, and it's something we are going to carry forever in our hearts.
The television producer cum rugby player also helped Kenya Rugby Sevens qualify for their first Olympic Games in 2016.
Some of the things that we've done with Kenya Sevens, going to the two Olympics, the Rio Olympics in 2014 and lately the Tokyo Olympics. So I think those are some of the biggest achievements that we have had with Kenya Sevens. And I think we'll just treasure them, put them as a standard rating for the guys who are coming through the system. So the things they need to be able to achieve before they say they're successful as Kenya Sevens.
Amonde, who has played over 70 tournaments around the world, was awarded a Head of the State commendation by President Uhuru Kenyatta in 2019 for his exemplary service in Kenya 15s and 7s.
I felt it was time also to hand the baton to the next generation, because also age has catch up with me. I started playing rugby at a late age. I was able to do it at some point, and I felt I'd done enough with my time, and I'd done enough for the country, and I'd done enough for my teams. So it was time for me also to pass the baton to the next generation, to try and inspire the next people who are going to come through the system, and to see who is next, who is going to take us to that next level that we keep on dreaming about. We wanted to see Kenya 7 conquering the world.
The Kenya Rugby Union, KRU, also featured Amonde with an Achievement Award in 2022. Amonde has now ventured into the coaching profession.
From my retirement, the biggest thing now from what I've started doing now is doing mentorship. I've been lucky enough to be employed by DBA Rugby. This is an agency that deals with giving young kids, people at an early age, an opportunity to be able to learn the basic skills that is able to help them grow in the sport, and to be able to give young ones an opportunity to be able to start this sport at an early stage than most of us did who did rugby. So we've been doing some of the hard work with the young ones, trying to expose them, trying to teach them a way of rugby, just mentoring them and seeing them, hoping that in the future we'll see the best Amondes, the Injeras, the Humphreys, So this is something that we are very keen to do, and it's something we are very dedicated, and we are doing it every time we are here, and we are working with the young ones. Hopefully somebody will be able to notice what we are doing and to be able to promote it at a different level.
This is the story of a great player who once graced the pitch with his great performance and brought glory to our nation.
The biggest advice in sport is just be yourself. Be ready to learn, open yourself to research, because sport is not easy. Sport is a lot of dedication and hard work, and it takes a lot from individuals. It's what you are going to bring on the table. It's your discipline, it's your hard work, and it's your openness to learning. Those are the things that will carry you. If you want to come to KCB, KCB is an open club. There's a lot of mentorship that goes in KCB, and we welcome everybody who is interested in joining KCB or joining any club, because we don't just encourage people to come to KCB. Any club that is nearest to you, that is able to make you achieve what you want to do in sport. There are people who are there who have been experienced enough, who will be able to mentor you to be the best sportsman that you can be, and to be able to be a good product to this country.
This is the story of Andrew Amonde, a player so ruthless that the streets gave him a nickname to go with his name, the Beast.